If you're targeting a keyword in Amazon, let's say you're selling a phone case and you're bidding on the keyword phone case, and someone types in blue phone cases, would your ad show up? What about pink phone cases? What about iPhone 13 case? What if they just type in cases? Amazon has to make a decision on every single one of those, and it uses your match type setting to do it. Your match type determines how much variation in what the customer actually types in you want to allow while still having your ad triggered for that keyword. And this isn't specific to Amazon. This is one of the fundamentals of how all search engine PPC works, whether it's Amazon, Google, or Bing. Understanding what each one does is one of the most basic things you need to know if you're running PPC ads, or if you're working at a company overseeing or working with people who manage your Amazon ads. In this video, I'll show you exactly what each type does and how Amazon decides which customer searches trigger your ad, the difference between a keyword and a search term and why it matters more than most people realize, and how negative keywords let you carve out specific searches you don't want to show up for. There's an important distinction you have to understand, and it's the difference between a keyword and a search term. A search term is the exact characters the customer actually typed into the Amazon search bar. A keyword is what you're targeting in your campaign. It's what you set up, what you bid on, what you're paying to show up for. When you're looking at the performance of a keyword, things like the click-through rate, spend, sales, it's actually showing you statistics based off the pool of search terms that specific keyword picked up. In order to see the actual search terms and how the keyword performed differently across the variety of search terms that it showed up for, you have to look into the Search Terms tab. It's there where you can see exactly what's happening within each keyword. Often a keyword that looks like it's performing well might actually be carrying a lot of dead weight, or it might be getting most of its sales from one or two search terms you hadn't noticed. It's really common to see a keyword that looks like it's doing really well compared to the other keywords, but when you dig into the actual search terms, most of the sales are just coming from people searching your brand name. You have to understand how keywords are performing, but then also look at the search terms that are getting picked up by each keyword as well. So let's go through each match type. Google came up with this system back in 2002, and the same three match types exist across all PPC platforms today: exact, phrase, and broad. We'll start with exact. Exact match is the most specific setting. Your ad will only show when the customer's search matches your keyword very closely. The order of the words matters here. The words need to appear in the same order as in your keyword, and there cannot be extra words before or after your keyword. So if your exact keyword is phone case, a search for case phone would not trigger your ad. The words are the same, but the order is wrong. Now, Amazon does allow a few close variations, even with an exact match. Plurals are treated the same as singular. So phone case on exact match would also pick up phone cases. You don't need to add both. Amazon also handles misspellings automatically. So if someone types in POHNE case with the O and the H mixed up, Amazon figures that out and treats it the same as if they typed in phone case correctly. So there's no need to bid on misspellings separately. If there's a specific search term you want to assign a specific bid to, exact match is how you do that. Next is phrase match. With phrase match, your ad will show when the customer search includes your keyword phrase in the same order, but additional words are allowed before or after. So if your phrase match keyword is phone case, a search for blue phone case would trigger your ad. So would phone case for iPhone 13. The phrase phone case is in there in the right order with or without other words around it. But a search for case for my phone would not trigger your ad under phrase match. Even though all the right words are there, the phrase isn't intact in the correct order, and that's what phrase match requires. Just like with exact match, Amazon handles plurals and misspellings automatically, so you don't need to worry about adding those variants of each keyword. Phrase match sits between exact match and broad match in terms of how much variation it allows. You're giving Amazon a bit more room than exact, but you're still requiring that your keyword phrase stays together and in order. Broad match is where Amazon gets the most flexibility in deciding what triggers your ad. With broad match, your keyword terms can appear in any order, and Amazon will also pick up related variations. It will include the variation of the three match types. A keyword like phone case on broad could pick up searches like cases. It gives Amazon the most room to make decisions on your behalf. That's also what makes broad match useful for discovery. When you're trying to find search terms you hadn't thought to target, running broad match and monitoring the search terms report is a good way to do that. If you've used Google Ads before, you'll know that on Google, broad match can get very broad. We're talking searches that are really just kind of loosely related to your keyword topic. It will pull a lot of irrelevant traffic. Amazon Broad Match doesn't work that way. Amazon's a product search engine. People come there to buy things, not to gather information. So Amazon's pretty good at keeping Broad Match results pretty relevant to what you're selling. It's pretty rare that I see broad match keywords include searches that are just totally off base. So now let's look at these match types side by side. We'll use the keyword phone case and run through a list of searches a customer might type in and see which ones exact, phrase, or broad match would pick up. So exact match picks up the closest matches. In this case, just phone case and phone cases. Phrase gives you more room but keeps the phrase intact. So that would pick up blue phone case for iPhone 13, along with phone case and phone cases. Broad match picks up the loosest variation, but something completely unrelated like laptop bag still won't get picked up. So when you're looking in your campaign manager and you're looking at the clicks, spend, and sales generated from a broad match keyword, phone case, you're looking at the combined performance of all these search terms together. These match types are how you control your bids at the search term level. Here's what that means. Let's say you're running a phrase match keyword phone case, and you notice in your search terms report that iPhone 13 case is converting really well. You want to show up more for that specific search term. The way you assign that specific term a specific bid is by adding iPhone 13 case as its own exact match keyword and setting the bid you want for it. Now that search has its own bid, its own data, and you have direct control over it. You can use exact match to isolate the ones that are performing well and bid on them precisely. Often you might start by using a lot of broad match keywords because you don't necessarily have a reason to know that one specific search term will convert more or less than others. But as you get more information, you can make your bids more and more specific by gradually adding more specific match types. Now, what if you don't want to give a specific search term a different bid, but you want to give it no bid at all? You don't want to show up when that search term is used. That's where negative keywords come in. A negative keyword tells Amazon when you specifically don't want to trigger your ad. On Amazon, negatives come in two types: negative exact and negative phrase. Negative exact blocks your ad when the search matches that search term exactly. Negative phrase, of course, blocks your ad anytime that search contains that phrase. So it casts a much wider net. A good example of how to use this. So let's say you sell a phone case that fits the iPhone 13, but not the iPhone 12 or 16. You can add those model numbers as negative phrase keywords. That way, any search that contains iPhone 12 or iPhone 16, or perhaps even just those numbers on their own, won't trigger your ad. You're not wasting money on shoppers whose phone your case doesn't even fit. One thing to be careful about is you don't want to create too many negative keywords that potentially negate out more than you intend to. Now that you understand how match types work and which searches your keywords are actually picking up, the next thing to understand is what's happening behind the scenes when Amazon decides which ads to actually show and in what order. Because it's not just whoever has the highest bid that wins. There's another factor that causes some brands to pay less than their competitors and still end up showing higher and more often. I break down exactly how that works in my next video. Click right here to watch that video next.